Relationships with narcissists are wonderful during the early love-bombing phase. They are attentive, charismatic, and charming. They look up to you and heap praise on you. It's flattering that they want to know everything about you. It's possible they'll make you feel uneasy with their sudden intensity, but they'll probably make up an excuse to charm you into staying engaged. However, once they have you hooked, they lose interest in conquering you. What is it about a narcissist that causes you to feel such a deep sense of loss once the relationship has ended? Why do you feel the need to always provide proof? Did you realize how absurd that was? You may ask yourself, can it be that I'm the one being impolite? Why do narcissists choose to disregard you in favor of the next available source of validation? We'll have to dig deeper to find the answers we need, as there are no quick fixes to these issues. Let's find out the truth about this situation, in the hopes that it can release you. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button if you want to learn why narcissists don't miss you as much as you miss them. If this piques your interest, subscribe using the bell icon to receive instant notifications of any new posts. Alright, let's get started. Narcissists, as you probably already know, have a serious problem with the concepts of object permanence and object consistency. As a result, people won't think about you if they don't actually see you. To understand a narcissist, picture a child of 4 trapped in an adult's body. There's no way this little mind can fathom the existence of anything or anyone beyond the domain of sense perception. Picture a child of 4 years old whose favourite toy you have taken away and buried. A child may wail or demand the toy be returned right away, but they will soon stop caring. For them, the toy simply disappears. That's because their brains just can't take in any more data and expand their knowledge base. After this section ends, there is a brief moment of silence. They are completely oblivious to the fact that there are other options out there. Just like a narcissist, an egomaniac has a ceiling that prevents them from developing further. They were never given any sort of education or instruction in this field, so it's become a routine that never ends well for them. When you stop feeding their ego or leaving them, they will cease remembering you. Putting it plainly, you no longer serve any useful purpose. Nobody from your side helps them. Nobody from your side helps them. Justify why they should even think about hiring you. Because of their fixation on fleeting details, they put themselves in danger. The only thing that matters right now is the attention that this new individual is providing. That's the kind of details that would pique their interest. Narcissists will not remember you unless you make contact with them or they have a favour to ask of you. This is when you become a potential candidate. If you don't make it simple for them, they won't even think about working with you. Their selfishness and entitlement make them inattentive and preoccupied with themselves. Being gone hasn't made them miss the times they spent with you. They were just following their plan when they acted this way. They turned your feelings against you by carrying out the actions on the list because they knew it would have that effect on you. None of it happened, though. First, they didn't have any feelings about the circumstance or your relationship. Therefore, they acted accordingly. They didn't do it for any particular reason and didn't remember doing it. The job was a breeze for them. They weren't even remotely interested in it. Thus, it might be concluded that there is ultimately no hope for you. Simply put, if they don't know who you are, they won't miss you. Secondly, trauma bonding. Narcissists have suffered terrible losses, and they want you to suffer just as much as them. Inevitably, you'd miss them, long to see them again, and wonder what they're up to, who they're with, and who this new person is. How much do you value your own opinion compared to that of others? Do you want to hang out with them if that's the case? You should make an effort to have a final conversation with them. it's likely that you'd like to put this chapter of your life behind you as soon as possible. You'd have cognitive dissonance and have a hard time deciding which of two interpretations of the same person to believe. Part of you is aware of how awful this person was, yet another remembers the good moments you had with them and wonders if they are, in fact, a narcissist. He has apparently done this sort of thing previously, which begs the question, why is he bad if he has done well before? That makes one suspicious of the whole affair. This is why people who have experienced trauma multiple times often find themselves stuck in a rut of bad relationships. You seek them out because they make you feel the most secure. Your senses are on high alert, and your emotions are running wild when you have no idea who or what this person actually is. What happened in the relationship is instructive, and I can remind you of that. You suffered terrible emotional distress because of the narcissist. Identical individual, right? The sole accountable party who raises your hopes only to dash them and leave you feeling miserable. Achieving nothing but hollow promises was their very nature. They are never truly willing to assist. A crumb from a total stranger. You thought things were back to normal since they do nice things for you now and again to keep you interested, but you were wrong. This is the current state of affairs. You must regain your composure, or at least feel stronger than recently. When they were at their best, you were so close to them, and now you long for those days. That's why you must keep on ignoring them. You can't bring yourself to look for them. Because they have moved on from the emotions you inspired in them, they no longer miss you. You became close as a result of your undivided focus. You pushed them to the top so that they would be successful. You carried on as though they were the ultimate rulers of your world. You have successfully persuaded them that they are in charge of your entire existence. There was a likeness there, and that's what they'll get. That was the main attraction for them. They'd given up seeking for it because they found it while travelling with another party. They're leaving you now because they've taken over your body and mind. Not coming back until they were practically out of supply. They would then retake power. They don't care about you or seem like they miss you because they don't believe they should. You were left with no resolution. It's as though they've lost interest in you. They feel no regret about it. They have no morals and have no shame in what they do. In their view, what they've done is totally fine. They don't think there are any issues that need their help. Therefore, they feel no guilt for their misdeeds. In all candour, that is how things are. They have no concept of right or wrong. There's the fact that when one thing ends, it actually does. Leave that topic alone. All well, I think that's it for this episode. I really hope you learned something from this video. If so, let me know in the comments, hit that like button, share this with your friends, and subscribe. In the comments box below, I hope to hear from you. Until then, we must begin making progress. The 5 hardest realities to face after breaking up with a narcissist. This episode is for you if you have been having trouble accepting the truth about your narcissistic relationship, and or if you have tried to move on but have been unsuccessful. To help you cope with life after breaking up with a narcissist, we've compiled a list of the top 5 challenges you'll face. If it piques your interest and you can't wait to learn more, subscribe and hit that bell button. I have a quick inquiry before we get started. Where do you have the most difficulty accepting reality? Which of these do you wish you could accept but can't? Help other survivors feel less alone by sharing your experiences in the comments section. Number 1. If it was a narcissistic relationship, thus the whole thing was fake. Seriously, what happened? You poured your entire being into the connection, not just your emotions. You put forth an incredible amount of effort. You made a lot of concessions, and yet you went ahead and made peace with the narcissist. Completely flawed narcissist. foreseeing good things for the couple. You put your faith in them. You put your trust in them. Indeed you did. You probably had this person pegged as the one I'd been waiting for all along. You see this individual as the saviour you've been waiting for. However, what did actually occur? You suffered a moral wound and harm to your soul because of how you were treated. You were deceived, traumatized, abandoned, demoralized, and made a fool of. Others took advantage of your generosity, empathy, and your compassion. To admit that it was all an elaborate fabrication now would be to acknowledge that everything I did for them or experienced with them, including the pleasant recollections, was in fact real. To accept this is to accept that the person I saw at the beginning of the relationship was so charming, so nice, so present, so tuned, so great. Now is dead, never was. If you give in to the idea that it was all a deception, you're basically admitting that the person, the monster, you saw later in the relationship is who they really were. To take in all of this information at once triggers a paralyzing freeze response that renders rational thought impossible. It's like watching someone get stabbed in the face as your brain refuses to process what it's seeing. Still, wondering if your imagination is playing tricks on you. Is someone playing a joke on us? Is this a movie set, or do they have anything more interesting planned? You must not concede that such violence and such a long delay are possible. Likewise, if the narcissist gaslighted you, abused you, traumatized you, or otherwise treated you as intolerable, this holds true as well. You were immobilized by the force of reality's sudden realization. You can't wrap your head around the idea that someone could be this evil. Number 2, all the nice things you've had were fabrications meant to fool your emotions. Your cognitive dissonance prevents you from admitting that the narcissist lied about the happy moments you shared together. Why? Because there is also a conflict of feelings. When they were nice to you, the same narcissist who made you feel bad about yourself was also the reason why you felt good about yourself. It causes a schism in your psyche and separates your experiences so that you can't tell the difference between the truth and the falsehood. To realize that the positive things you remember were also falsehoods used to keep you in the relationship and maintain you is a huge step forward. It is giving up one's entire life. Having something to cling to is better than nothing, but if you accept that it was also a lie, you will have to let go of the hope that one day you will be able to look back on your life with fond memories and feel a sense of satisfaction that you were right. It's the same as conceding that from the very start, everything was dreary and void of light. In the middle, admitting that the wonderful times were an illusion entails admitting that you were duped, misled, fooled into trusting, and taken advantage of by someone you thought you could trust. Reasons why it's so hard to admit the wonderful days were an illusion. Number 3, they made you expect a dream, but gave you a nightmare instead. Like all narcissists, they promise you a great future at the beginning of the relationship. They give you false hope for the future by promising you things that will never come to pass. But the future they paint for you is so alluring that you can't help but be drawn in. It's an elaborate hoax. That's why having faith is so satisfying. It's incredible to think about and dream about. And that's what muddies your thinking to the point that you can't ask the important questions that would help you separate fantasy from the truth. They generate a trance-like state in you by pretending to be the future you want, and you fall for it. You find out that all they told you about the future you may have with them, was nothing but a load of falsehoods and rubbish. It was just garbage. It was. This is only baiting. They used to bait your hooks so you'd bite and give them what they craved. They promised you the moon and the stars, but they never delivered on any of their demands, whether it was affection, financial support, or sexual favours. On the contrary, they sent a nightmare instead. They created for you a world so terrible that you had to fight through it every day. Number 4, the narcissist will never give you privacy. For someone to truly betray you, to abandon you in the middle of nowhere, ruined and alone, to cause you so much pain, they should at least provide you with some resolution that allows you to move on with your life. In any case, what does a narcissist do? What they do is throw you to the wolves. Whether you live or die is of little concern to them. If they don't steal something from you, they depart immediately and never come back. If they don't believe they can hoover you, and they leave you there, you probably have a lot of questions. Because of this, you wonder if he is a narcissist. Can she really be that awful? Oh, really? How could she act like that? What stopped her from doing this and that? Do you know if she's content? When he met this new individual, did he feel at ease? Further, etc., that's the circle of uncertainty you keep going around in your head, and you can't seem to accept the fact that this individual didn't feel compelled to provide you with an answer that would allow you to go on. They didn't value you or the connection enough to give you the last piece of the puzzle so he could finish it and go on. Instead, you're on your own to research and learn about things like narcissistic personality disorder and the existence of people like them. You had to accept the fact that bad things had occurred to me and find peace with the fact that the world had a terrible side. And yet, here I am, realizing that they won't provide closure and accepting that you'll have to get it elsewhere. Understanding that you must wait for your personal experiences to bring you closure is the key to freedom. Because everything you need to know to make sense of your feelings and finally let go is there if you take the time to examine them closely. Number 5, and the final one. The narcissists exploited you to keep you around so they might acquire supplies. This is a really heartbreaking thing to accept and believe, because believing that you were kept as an object and used and tossed away means accepting that you have no self-worth, you have no esteem, you have no confidence. It recognizes that you were cheated, like a piece of furniture that they utilized, and since it grew old, they tossed it away. Accepting all of this means you will also have to recognize that you became used to and tricked by a person, but you don't have to bear the guilt for it. It's not. That you caused it to yourself, it was done to you. They twisted, gaslit, and did all of the terrible crap that these individuals do to take advantage of you. You didn't allow it. It occurred to you. You were utterly removed from that agency, which would have let you evaluate if it was being approved. You were in a condition of fight, flight, or freeze, and that is how you maintained surviving in the relationship. You had no access to the reasoning area of your brain, so they kept torturing you. Why? Because they immobilize your nervous system. They stunned you, and you kept living from one instant to the next. So recognizing that someone objectifies you is incredibly tough, because it creates a lot of guilt. You feel uncomfortable in yourself, because you ask questions like, how could I allow that? Why did I allow that? Why did I let it happen to me? Why couldn't I stop them? But you are saying all of this. You are asking these questions because you have access to the agency today. You're out of the poison, and you may have some clarity now, which is why you can ask these questions back then. You did not have those questions. You could not ask such questions because you did not have the agency. So giving yourself a lot of compassion, embracing yourself as you are, and recognizing that it was considerably more intricate than how it looks today is the key to healing. You need to realize that you were used, but at the same time, you gave out of your good nature. You did what you felt was the correct thing to do. You performed what is in your nature, making you different from this thing you were with. Accepting things as they are after leaving the narcissist is tough, but you need to do it if you want to set yourself free. I think this is all I can say in today's video. We will meet again at the next one. Till then, let us keep healing ourselves. 5 disturbing facts about narcissists' laugh. Narcissists enjoy seeing you suffer because they have no capacity for empathy or compassion. To put it bluntly, they are filled with their own wickedness and the dirt of others, so when you cross them, they get angry and punish you for it. Quit while you still can. The body language of a narcissist may disclose much about the person's inner world, including their thoughts, feelings, and worldview. Because they don't laugh in the same ways that other people do, this body language trait reveals a lot about their moral fibre and integrity. In this episode, I will discuss 5 strange and disturbing truths about the laughing of narcissists. If that sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified when new episodes are available. Before we get started, I'd like to ask, have you ever witnessed anything peculiar or out of the ordinary with the laughing of a narcissist? Is that you? If so, please share your stories in the comments so that other survivors might feel less alone. Let's get started with number 1. The narcissist's laughter sounds phony, forced, and even malicious. It comes out when they ridicule someone, put them down, or create a spectacle of their sad circumstance, and it is, therefore, an outward manifestation of their lack of empathy and care for others. To put it bluntly, they find other people's pain and setbacks humorous. They get a sick, obnoxious, and satanic joy out of making others feel tiny and helpless, and their laughing reflects this. They seldom laugh naturally, and when they do, it seems forced so that they may pass for normal and desirable. They could strain a few facial muscles to make their mouth into a smile, but it's all just the show. They are good at playing by the rules, and they devote their entire time to that. Number 2, narcissists laugh in an exuberant yet superficial manner. They never seem to find humour in anything deep, clever, funny, or organic. They appear to understand the conventions of slapstick and know to laugh at the pie-in-the-face jokes. This demonstrates their shallowness, immaturity, and lack of progress. The lack of an emotional connection prevents them from finding humour in anything that centres on or references the human experience. Things that are fake or lack depth may get a chuckle from them. For instance, you may say something funny on a comedy programme, but you'd never say it if you or someone you know had made a blunder. Further, the resulting laughing might serve as a bonding experience. Number 3, when they're being scolded, their laughing becomes weak and anxious, since they can't show their anger in any other way. Narcissists don't appreciate being the stooge of a joke or an object of ridicule, and when it occurs, they are already close to exploding with anger. But the pressure to keep up the flawless image and front compels them to chuckle even as they seethe and boil with resentment within. Even worse, some of them don't joke about at all, coming across as inflexible, angry, and stuck in the Stone Age. Some narcissists are unable to laugh at anything but themselves, and only then when they are extremely intoxicated. Number 4, all of their laughter is fake. They wait for the others to start laughing before they fake a smile or chuckle themselves. Since their mirror neurons aren't firing properly and they aren't syncing, likely they don't have any meaningful relationships with other people. Likewise, the fact that they don't show any signs of yawning is indicative. It's common knowledge that yawning is contagious, but narcissists are immune. They don't reciprocate your yawns. The fact that yawning is linked to empathy tells you everything and explains everything, according to the study that found this. Oddly, in the space of a second, they can switch from laughing to keeping a deadpan expression. Who does that, really? When you laugh, your face gradually returns to its neutral position. If you think about it, it must be an act to make you appear nicer and more attractive. Thus, it's impossible for it to be that covert. Number 5, and the last one, Neither of them can laugh at themselves, even when they do something as ridiculous as burn a piece of toast. If someone else does, they will never pass up an opportunity to pick at them. They like laughing at other people, but never at themselves, because they fear admitting their own frailty and flaws. They don't think anything is funny about themselves. Thus, they never laugh. Even if you are making light of the situation, you should be penalized for suggesting a defect that does not exist. Narcissists laugh at other people's mistakes, but become angry when the joke is on them. Unfortunately, they are emotionally lifeless, so their laughing isn't the kind that makes your tummy hurt. Narcissists lack the intrinsic motivation to pursue and share genuine happiness and joy actively. They are dissatisfied and unable to see the truth. Their laughter comes from a stone-cold, shame-filled, and angry heart. That will do it for today's Today. Please let me know if you found any of this to be true by posting a comment below. Please hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends. For the time being, take good care of yourself. Here are 5 main reasons why narcissists are so dangerous. Narcissists, in general, are dangerous individuals to have around. You will suffer mental and physical suffering by being around them. Their manipulative behavior and methods can wear a person down. They are emotionally stunted and incapable of showing sympathy. They couldn't care less if you're feeling low and in need of comfort. Narcissists grow irate when you express yourself and set limitations because they believe they have lost power. These people are a danger to others around them, both mentally and physically. Narcissists are destructive by nature and tend to leave a mess in their way. They're just like the wild, uncouth savages and vicious predators that use you to obtain what they want. As soon as they get it, they will abandon you to starve to death. Just what is it about narcissists and narcissistic relationships that is so risky? When it comes to them, should you be scared? Let's watch today's video and find out. I'll be discussing the 5 main characteristics of narcissists and narcissistic relationships that pose such a threat in today's video. If that piques your curiosity, click the subscribe button to receive notifications of new uploads to my channel, and click the bell icon to ensure you never miss anything. The number 1, narcissists are harmful because they corrupt and undermine their victims' sense of who they are and how they should feel about themselves. They completely uproot a person from their earliest memories. When a victim ends a toxic relationship, they become unrecognizable to themselves. Unfortunately, it takes a long time for people to regain their identity, learn to embrace the truth of their experiences, and begin to reconstruct their sense of self after trauma. Narcissistic abuse, in my perspective, is like having all of one's insides sucked out. The many and varied elements of it. Number 2, the narcissist's deliberate, calculated, and premeditated cruelty. The narcissist's failure to empathize, lack of remorse, eroding boundaries, gaslighting deception, future fake loud bombing, and subsequent devaluation and rejection. They can all drive a person to insanity. A victim of a narcissistic relationship will suffer the most moral injury possible due to the complexities of the partnership's dynamics. It causes brain damage. The damage to their brains prevents them from thinking clearly. Their ability to control their emotions is disrupted and shifted. Everything a person relies on to survive is attacked and destroyed. Narcissistic abuse is terrifying, revolting, and traumatizing because it may cause someone to reach rock bottom when basic tasks like brushing their teeth become impossible. Number 3, narcissists are genuine parasites. Like leeches, narcissists latch on to their hosts and drain their blood. As for the supply, the narcissist drained you of your blood. Only for the sake of feeding on them Does a narcissist stay with or retain a supply in their life? Finally, we might ask, what does it make them? In a word, yes, one who preys. Just a predator that feeds only on its victims. Narcissistic partnerships best show predator-prey dynamics. People who are narcissistic perceive you as something to exploit, to take advantage of, and to take. All that matters is how useful you are to someone else. Once that's accomplished, you're abandoned, broken, and forgotten, with no idea what happened to you on the inside. What, in your opinion, makes a narcissist so dangerous, before we go on to number 4? In what ways have you seen the world? And I want to learn more about how these folks operate in various contexts to comprehend better and appreciate them. Please share your thoughts and advice with other survivors and me by leaving a comment below. Number 4. Narcissists are totally unconcerned and without any sense of regret for their actions. Neither they nor you perceive their responsibility for your alleged cheating connection with them. Additionally, you suffered all the losses you did because of them. They make you the issue while also justifying their actions to themselves. You're expected to carry the load alone. You stand out as the one who is flawed, and the consequences reach well beyond that. It's not just done on an individual basis. You're also subjected to triangulation and a smear campaign at a larger, more systemic level. Your network of friends and acquaintances has been wiped out. It's been taken away from you entirely, and you feel deceived in every possible way. That they feel no need to apologize is a frightening reality. They don't even try to acknowledge that they could have made a mistake and apologize for it. For a survivor, what does it entail? For you, the victim, what does that entail? It entails everlasting anguish, lack of closure, suffering, unresolved rage, and fury that consumes you, and living hell while being here on the planet. Number 5. Narcissists like seeing their victims suffer. Witnessing your suffering gives them a sense of power over you. To put it simply, it gives them a sense of authority. They're left with a warm, fuzzy feeling all over. They appear to derive some type of pleasure from seeing you suffer. Unconsciously, this is a defense mechanism against their overwhelming feelings of weakness and lack. From the perspective of the recipient, this must be a terrible ordeal. When a loved one, spouse, friend, parent, etc., takes pleasure in one's suffering, it erodes the victim's sense of confidence in that person. Experiencing something like this is the very worst thing that can happen to a person. Having said all that, it's equally crucial to remember that narcissists are, at heart, insecure people. You shouldn't be terrified of them, since they are the most helpless person you will ever encounter. Understanding why you should avoid these relationships and the psychological damage that you go through, you experience because of them is the only key to keeping yourself safe from the destruction I explained in this video, which is why I made this video, and why I have been talking about these things for the past few minutes. I pray I've shed some light on the fundamental aspects of what makes these relationships so dangerous, and why it takes you so long to heal afterward. And if it is useful to you, please subscribe to my channel so that I can expand and educate as many people as possible. And how you can assist me in this endeavor by responding to this video, giving it a thumbs up, and sharing it with the communities to which you belong. In the next video, I'll elaborate on this further.